Welcome to the Retail Tech Podcast. My name is Darius Wasefi, and today I am speaking with Mike Green from Intel. How are you doing, Mike?
Doing well. Thanks, Darius, for having me.
Fantastic. Happy to have you on the show. Let's start with a brief background on yourself and what you do at Intel, and then we'll start getting into the conversation.
Sounds great. Yeah. So Mike Green, I manage what we call our partner scale team. And inside of that team, I have our US retail business. So the team that calls on all of our retailers that are there to help them sell through our product with partners like HP, Dell, Lenovo, Acer, Asus, Samsung, go down the list. And I've been at Intel for 25 years. I've actually been part of our retail team for 15 plus years, but had stepped away from that for about 9 months to run other segments of our business, like our channel team, our distribution team, and our other partner teams. And then full circle, got the retail team back underneath my purview back in November. So it's good to be back. Was at CES. Sorry we missed each other, but for good
Yeah.
reasons. And I'm glad that you and your family are all safe. So
Thank you so much. Once you work in retail, you can't really leave. You always get
yeah.
pulled back in. The key announcements from Intel, from what I heard, is it the Gaudi chip?
Gaudi is our way into the big large language model AI piece. So much more of a corporate and commercial use case. From a CPU technology, we actually launched a commercial grade, what our code name is Lunar Lake. And that's our Intel Core Ultra 200V processor that in the commercial space. That was actually launched in the consumer space back in 2024, and that's starting to ramp. And that is our purpose-built silicon that has an NPU in it, and that NPU has the capability of running Copilot Plus. So we'll have that device that actually is in market now, and will continue to ramp through this year.
So what do you see as far as utilization and usage? Like, everybody you talk about, and I mean, this is public information. Everybody's talking about NVIDIA and, of course, Intel as the OG of the
Yeah.
microprocessor business is like,
Yeah.
we're thinking, so who is actually starting to utilize the new Intel chips?
So from a consumer side, I think there's multiple software applications that are out there, and this is going to take time, right? I mean, we launched a product called Meteor Lake back in 2023. That was the first product to have an NPU associated with. That's a neural processing unit, to get a little technical, but that allows software engineers to write code that does AI at a much lower total cost of operation. So like from a technical speak, it's lower energy, allows you to have better battery life on your device, is not using that energy heavy CPU and GPU to run all these applications that would just drain your battery life, especially obviously in a laptop scenario. So the NPU was introduced with Meteor Lake in 2023. The follow-on was Lunar Lake, which opened us up to Copilot Plus. So in a consumer space, there's a lot of productivity that's associated with Copilot plus other applications. But as you know, once software engineers get the hardware, then they start writing their code, and everything in the future will be running around this NPU because of the efficiencies and the AI capabilities. So the software we see today will be dramatically different in 9 months. So the hardware kind of
Right.
beat the software out of this space. So we're excited. And our big message through the retailers is an end consumer needs to future-proof their device, because you will get software offerings after you purchase this device that will be allowed to, from creativity to gaming to productivity, all those various things that AI can give you as a consumer.
Okay, so just for people that don't know, maybe explain a little bit what an NPU is.
Yeah. So it's the best way to describe it. Most everyone knows what a CPU, which is what Intel makes, and then a GPU, which there's external GPUs. That's what NVIDIA does. We actually have our own with Intel Arc as well. But there's also GPU embedded into the chip. So you have CPU and GPU. We've added a third chiplet that is known as the NPU, neural processing unit, that again focuses on less power consumption, specific AI capabilities written to, and from a code standpoint, written to that because it helps on battery life and it helps give you a better experience overall. At the end of the day, what we're all trying to do is make sure that the laptop everyone buys, one, is future proof for future software and has a battery life greater than a couple minutes. If everything was written to the GPU or CPU for AI, which can be done, it would drain the battery. So this NPU really helps in that space.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. So what is so just another question about this the players. What is
Yeah,
Apple doing as far as microprocessors? Is Apple evolving because they're using their own chips now?
right. Yeah, I
Have
mean, I can't
they
speak to, so our,
have you heard
our
anything?
chip
Yeah.
relationship is done. So yeah, they come out with competing products, and that's why we're building the products that we are. That takes advantage of the AI IA86 or
Right.
x86 ecosystem. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
Okay. Okay, yeah, just trying to see what's available publicly. I mean, they introduced Apple Intelligence, which
Yep.
still needs time to get integrated. And I all I heard about that was on the software side, nothing on the hardware. So anyway, side
Yeah.
topic. So let's talk about. Okay, so let's start from like the gorilla in the room right now. Yesterday, DeepSeek. How is that actually, is that changing anything? Is that giving us more opportunities, less opportunities? What do you think?
I think there's a lot of vetting that needs to be done. I think it obviously turned the market upside down, and I mean, it's all public out there. But essentially, they've come up with a model that competes with a very high-end, expensive GPU model at a much lower cost. And so, to me, that shows that there's opportunity for the CPU to be the driving um, product inside of the AI space, instead of these very expensive, very power hungry GPUs being run in the background. So, but I mean, we were all surprised by the news yesterday or over the weekend. So I think a lot of the engineers and people much smarter than me inside of Intel are trying to figure it out and looking at what are the opportunities and what does it mean for the overall industry.
Yeah, definitely an interesting development. As I also agree that more vetting needs to be done. We don't really have a lot of information. We've been given information, but we have
Yeah,
really no way to validate it. So,
correct.
like what I heard somebody said they have 50,000 H100s or N100s. I don't know. Somebody said that, and then somebody says they have 2,000, but nobody really knows what hardware. I mean, they're
Right.
saying they used lower hardware, but what exactly was it? I haven't heard anything on details.
Yeah, and I think that's what most companies are trying to figure out now and seeing how that their strategy and their products fit inside of it. So I think this is a really good topic maybe a month from now because we'll know a lot more and understand what does it
Hopefully.
mean, what's the
Yeah.
capabilities. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think the definitely on the model side, and I'm in the application side myself with my company. So we use
Mhm.
like OpenAI right now,
Mhm.
and for us, it doesn't really matter except like the pricing. If the pricing
Yeah,
comes down, it's good. So the competition is good. The question I have myself is that how could all of these like super smart people in the US not come up with this low, I guess, requirement way of modeling? And, but that again, maybe in a month we'll have more information on that. And because,
therein lies the need for extreme vetting. So
yeah, 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 I agree. So let's talk about retail. When you say retailers, who do you specifically talk about? Is it like the major department stores, the major brands? Is it what product categories?
yeah, no, that's a good question. So we cover approximately 15 retailers in the US, the large ones being Best Buy, Costco, Walmart, Amazon, but we also cover Staples, Micro Center, a really strong regional player, Newegg, some of our military channels. So those are the retailers we go and cover. It's approximately 95% of the total available market in the US goes to those 15 retailers. And our main job is to help them choose the right product, deliver the right technology to them, and then go and help them sell that product through. It's always great when you have shared goals with your partners. And our shared goal is to get somebody into their store, tell them what technology or help them find the technology that they need, and make sure they get a device that they walk out with that they will not be disappointed in. And when you have that shared goal, you see extreme success, and why we've been able to do so many things in US retail for many years.
Okay, so when we're talking about products, we're talking mostly about products that would use a microprocessor, like, electronics, potentially appliances. And so what?
Our main focus is around laptops, desktops, and Chromebooks, and inside of, and then gaming, obviously. Gaming being such a huge piece of retail and the growth that has happened over the last 7-8 years, and these finished systems in gaming are tremendous. So we have partnerships with iBuyPower, CyberPower as well in this space. So that's our primary focus inside of retail.
Okay, and do you see like the only place where I hear about people actually still building their own workstations is in gaming. Is that correct?
For the most part, yeah, you see it's mainly gamers, DIYers, which that market has grown incredibly over the last 4 or 5 years as well. There's so many opportunities out there through various retailers will help you. You can go pick all of the parts, they'll actually build it for you, so you don't have to necessarily build it. You get to build, your build materials. And so that's opened up a lot of opportunities. And for the beginning gamers or the professional gamers, it gives them a great way of building the device that they need. And so we've seen that market grow a lot. And obviously, with us being a CPU manufacturer, that is a big business for us as well. We sell through Amazon, Newegg, Micro Center. Best Buy now has product inside of their stores. Walmart has product inside of their stores. So this is a growing segment of the business for ourselves, for graphics manufacturers, motherboard manufacturers, and we've seen tremendous growth over the last 4 or 5 years.
And I'm assuming or thinking that you probably expect that same level of growth to continue.
Yeah, I think there's opportunity for growth in 2025 on multiple segments. This isn't necessarily a gaming comment, but Windows 10 is EOLing at the end of this year or in October. And I think there's a lot of consumers out there that don't realize that they have a Windows 10 device, and they will no longer get technical support on that come October 14th. And so I think there's an opportunity for retailers to educate their consumers on what's about to happen and what that means. And plus, the difference between somebody who bought a PC 5 years ago and now is significantly different. Take the AI piece and the NPU, that's great, but the security and the privacy, all these things associated with your device. And let's face it, 5 years ago, a lot of folks were in a spot during pandemic that they had to get something, and they may not have necessarily chosen what they wanted. So you're talking 4 or 5 years with a device that maybe wasn't the perfect fit for you, and now you have better technology, better devices, leaner, thinner, sleeker devices, better battery life. It's just a better experience. And so I think consumers understanding that and having that dialogue with their retailer of choice or their search online, I think they're going to learn a lot.
What is the percentage market share between Apple and I guess Microsoft right now in laptops? Do you know the latest?
I think that would be something we could get from IDC. So I think it would have to be probably a public
Yeah.
search. Yeah. So it varies, right? And in different markets, it varies.
It's
But
still
IDC would be
majority, I think Windows, correct? Well, I'll have to double check and I'll put it in the show notes. But that's a question that I have is like the specific use cases, for example, for like Apple really popular for graphic design.
Mhm.
Now, with graphic design actually being done by generative AI, how is that going to impact that specific, I guess, niche market? Is interesting.
Yeah, well, it is. I think it all comes down to everyone's going to make a decision on what they use, the device they use, the software they use, based on it making them more productive, a better output of work that they're doing. And you have lots of folks in the Apple ecosystem in that space. I think if there's something in the Windows x86 ecosystem that can help an individual do more, then I think they'll look at that. And so that's where competition is so important. And
Mhm.
you get the software engineers and hardware engineers that are trying to better what is out there, and the consumer wins in that space. So at the end of the day, that's great for us.
So that actually brings up another really good point is the developer community. Like NVIDIA has done a really good job of building the software and a developer community around them. What is Intel doing in that respect? Especially
Intel's always
maybe,
been a
yeah.
Yeah, Intel's always been an open ecosystem. So there is no kind of walled garden of what you can and cannot do inside of our x86 platform, and that choice resonates with software engineers. And so building software inside of an open ecosystem is important for us, and it gives us more opportunity, and the software ISVs more opportunity as well. So that will has been and will always be our focus. And we're starting to see, especially in the PC side, the laptop side, that to be a winning strategy. In the work that we do, we have thousands of software engineers inside of Intel, which is, I think, surprising to a lot of folks because we're a hardware company. But we have got to work with the software engineers to tweak our product to work for them, and that's what we have continued to do for many decades.
What do you think is the retailer's biggest challenge coming up with shopping agents? I know it's a different topic probably from microprocessors, but like you're in the business, so I'm interested
Yeah.
what your thoughts are
Like
on that.
anything, you got to show value. So, certain retailers have labor inside of their stores that can actually walk you through it. I think there's still that personal connection with an individual that can give you sound advice that is best for you. And if you trust that individual, I think that's the opportunity for the retailer to have you buy through their outlet. You look at a place like Costco, right? I don't know if you're a Costco shopper or not. I'm a family of five, so I'm at Costco quite a bit.
Yeah.
Costco's built a brand around knowing that when you walk in and they have whatever the item is, whether from clothing to appliances to food, that they've procured that and made sure it's the best for their members. And so that, somebody who shops inside of Costco and sees 20 plus laptops, they know that they've gone out and gotten the best for their members. And so there's that trust there. So I think at the end of the day, whether you have some of these, digital shoppers or any of these other types of things, it's maybe part of the process of consumers learning. But you really go back to how do you trust either the individual helping sell you the device or teaching you about the device, and trusting the retailer. So that's important. That's how they're going to differentiate themselves.
Yeah, this is the conversation right now in retail is how agentic AI and especially like the OpenAI's new operator that was just released last week to some users, how it actually goes through and bypasses really the need of a consumer interfacing with a retailer's website.
Yeah,
And so that's a different thing that is happening on the side of not related to the hardware, but it's really going to impact how retailers actually build and grow their relationships with consumers.
agreed. I mean, this is the industry is moving fast, and those that can take advantage of or being ready for the next thing around the corner and make quick changes that allows their platform to still be front and center is going to be important. Or sometimes I would say in the retail space, they don't necessarily embrace the change. How do you take advantage of it? If you've got, at the end of the day, somebody's going to buy something, right? Regardless of what path they get to there. How do you embrace how people are shopping today, right? The younger population shopping through Instagram or TikTok and those ways of doing shopping and purchase behavior, you have to adapt. Not everyone's going to bestbuy.com or costco.com. And it's very generational, as you know. So
yeah. So just when retailers were mastering the website, now they have to figure a brand new experience.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
So
that's where Intel will come in and help, right? I mean, we invest marketing dollars again. We want to get individuals into their stores or into their online platforms and ultimately make a decision that's best for them. So how we market there will evolve. If there is opportunities to do marketing through a social platform or through any of these other overlays that are out there, we'll work with them to take advantage of it. And that's why we bring the partnership that we brought for multiple decades. Let's be nimble.
That's a really, really interesting point. I'm the how does Intel actually co-market with the retailers?
We'll do it two different ways. We'll do it directly with the retailer, where we will drive maybe a promotional price, or we will do education-based materials on their website. We will partner with OEMs, so HP, Dell, Lenovo, Samsung, Acer, Asus, on maybe some in-store marketing. The term often you probably heard is an end cap. You walk into a store and there's a device at the end and it has a little bit more education. It's separated from some of the other devices. We'll help market around that. And then obviously search awareness too. So we'll do things through Google search, through Amazon search, that helps a consumer better understand the product and what they're getting for with the money they're going to spend.
Okay, so that's a really very good value add that I think it's important for retailers to know. Do you think that Intel will ever get to work with the smaller businesses part, or is the electronic retail pretty much, like you said, 95% these big players? There's really like that small store concept is gone.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't say it's necessarily gone. It has shrunk tremendously. And so when you have finite budget and you have to listen, we're all in the business of looking at our return on our investment and how do we make the right investment choices for the masses. And so that's how we've come about covering these 15 retailers. But I will say this, any retailer that is growing or has a path to grow and looking at opportunities of differentiating themselves, we will always sit down and listen and talk to them. And we've seen that on a couple occasions where we've had some retailers join our program.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Mike. This has been really informative and interesting for me, seeing Intel really get into the ring and actually throw some punches. I want to see that this year. So looking forward to that.
Intel is developing new CPUs that are best for the market. And this Lunar Lake Intel Core Ultra 200V product is an amazing product. We're excited for it. The battery life is tremendous. It gives you Copilot Plus, has the NPU, allows software developers to design around it. And is a great product for consumers who are going to refresh a device this year. So we're excited and we'll continue doing the investments that we make into retail and make sure that the consumers understand the products out there. So I appreciate your time and having me on.